I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please note that this meeting is being conducted utilizing electronic equipment in compliance with State Law Public Act 21-1 as such. This meeting is being recorded and will be available to the public in compliance with state law. If you are attending remotely, please remember to mute your microphone unless you are speaking. Anyone participating remotely should state their name and title, if applicable, at the outset of each occasion that such person is speaking. All votes taken during which any member of this body are participating remotely shall be taken by roll call unless the voting is unanimous. The chat features will not be utilized nor considered during this meeting. Thank you. As for roll call, all members of council are present besides Ms. Aguilar, and Mr. Reed is here by telephone. The third item of our agenda is recognition of the Massac High School 2021 girls softball team. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is my honor to be able to be here this evening and recognize our Massac girls 2021 softball team. I know that State Representative Tony Scott also wanted to be here this evening. However, he had a conflict. I know that the chairman has an item from Mr. Scott that he would like to present this evening as well on behalf of State Representative Scott. Before I do this, I would like to ask the players and coaches from the softball team to please come up and join me. Don't be shy. All right. You have to make sure Bill can get you in the picture, right? Now slide down a little bit. I want to make sure you guys are in the video as well. Slide it. That's good. That's good. Gotta go on this side. All right, here we go. So this is a proclamation from the town of Monroe to the Massac High School Girls 2021 softball team. Whereas the Massac High School Girls softball team completed the 2021 season with a record of 24 wins and 0 losses. Whereas the Panthers finished first in the 2021 CIAC Softball Class L State Championship, while also ranking 20th overall in the United States.
Yeah.
Whereas Massac High School had the Game Time Connecticut Player of the Year, Catherine Gallant, who pitched a complete game shutout and hit a 2-run home run in Massac's 2-0 win, along with Natalie Lito, who was the Game Time Connecticut All-State Selection, one of the top offensive talents in the state, and Caitlin Welch, who received the Game Time Connecticut Honorable Mention. Whereas the members of the team and their coaching staff, through their dedication and teamwork, have brought a great honor to this community. Now, therefore, I, Kenneth M. Kellogg, First Selectman of the town of Monroe, do hereby proclaim today, Monday, August 16th, as Massac High School Girls Softball Day in Monroe. Congratulations, you've done it proud. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. One more. As the First Selectman said, Representative Scott was not able to be here this evening. He sends his warm congratulations to your wonderful successes. So he has a citation from the Connecticut General Assembly recognizing your great achievement, and I'll read it for you if I can. If you look at it, it's terrible type. All right. State of Connecticut, General Assembly official citation, introduced by Representative Tony J. Scott of the 112th District, Senator Kevin Kelly, the 21st Senate District, and Senator Marilyn Moore of the 22nd Senate District. Be hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Massac High School softball team. In recognition of being named the Class L softball state champions with a record of 24-0 on the season, the Panthers finished first in the state and 20th in the United States. This team showed true dedication throughout the season and has made the community extremely proud. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Given this day, the 12th day of June 2021, at the state of Connecticut, capital of Hartford, Connecticut. Congratulations. I also have a protective folder.
Oh.
Don't lose it. It's one of a kind.
Thank you.
Congratulations, girls.
Congratulations.
Really did great.
Oh, so tall, dude. They're tiny. Yeah, we'll do that.
Great job.
Bye.
Just want to let the members of the Massac softball team that they do not have to stay for the remainder of our very boring meeting. They can obviously stay if you want, but thank you.
Thank you, guys. Congrats.
Thank you.
Happy.
Bye.
All right. I'm going to pass the consent calendar unless there's an objection. Hearing no objection, I'm passing the consent calendar as presented. Public participation. Are there any members of the public that wish to participate at this time? Is there anyone online that would like to publicly participate at this time? Please remember to unmute yourself before speaking. One more time, is there any member of the public that wishes to participate at this time? Hearing none, I'm closing public participation. Appointments.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Maurer.
communications.
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked that communications labeled A through F be incorporated into our minutes. Thank you, Mr. Maurer. Appointments. Mr. Rooney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion for council to approve Dominic Smergalino of 14 Jockey Hollow Road to the position of alternate on the Planning and Zoning Commission, filling a vacancy left by Ron Schneider for a term ending November 22nd, 2021.
Motion by Mr. Rooney, seconded by Vice Chair Lapellis. Discussion, Mr. Rooney?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dom has served as an alternate on the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals since 2018. Dom has served the town well and wishes to further benefit our community by bringing his work ethic to planning and zoning. His experience on ZBA makes him an excellent choice for the Planning and Zoning Commission alternate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooney. Is there any other discussion about this appointment?
Chair,
Mr. Maurer?
thank you very much. Only to say that this appointment was run through LNA and after some brief questioning was given unanimous consent to be moved on to tonight's agenda with LNA's support.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maurer. Is there any other discussion? Hearing no other discussion, I'm going to call a vote on this appointment on Resolution 21-110. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All against, please say nay. Hearing none, this resolution passes 8-0. Mr. First Selectman, I see that Dominic is here. Would you mind swearing him in?
It would be my honor. Dom, please come down. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and the Charter of the Town of Monroe, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, your duties as an alternate on the Planning and Zoning Commission to the best of your abilities, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury? I do. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Dominic, same rule that went for the Massac softball team goes for you as well. All right? All right.
Like being dismissed from school.
Well, Ena did teach me very well. Mr. Rooney, any other appointments?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion for council to approve Greg Benno of 47 Crown View Drive to the Board of Finance, filling a vacancy left by Donald in Wales for a term ending November 22nd, 2021.
I second it.
Terry Rooney with the motion, Enan Lapellis with the second. Mr. Rooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Greg has lived in Monroe for over 23 years. Greg grew up in Monroe and has returned to raise his family here. Greg has an MBA from Quinnipiac and has professional experience budgeting and driving revenue while maintaining cost controls to maintain profitability. Greg is looking forward to being an integral part of the Board of Finance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rooney. Is there any other discussion?
I had Greg in school in class and he's extremely intelligent, very responsible, and I'm sure he'll act as finance.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mauer.
Thank you very much. Greg did come through our LNA process, was asked a few questions, and with unanimous consent and support was moved on to tonight's meeting. Also, just as a note, I always enjoy seeing when members who grew up in the community come back to serve the community, as well as fellow Quinnipiac alums coming to Monroe and serving the community. So that's always nice to see as well. So I'm sure he'll do an amazing job.
Thank you, Mr. Mauer. Any other discussion on this appointment? Hearing no other discussion, I'm going to call a vote on this matter on Resolution 21-111. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, this motion passes 8-0. Mr. First Selectman, Mr. Benno is here. Can you swear him in?
Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and the Charter of the Town of Monroe, that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, your duties as a member of the Board of Finance to the best of your abilities, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. Moving on to, we'll be moving on to action items. Town Council Committee on Finance, Education, Health, and Public Safety. Is there anyone on that committee that has a report this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to Town Council Committee on Planning, Zoning, Public Works, and Park and Recreation Matters. Mr. Rooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, we have not met since last council.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rooney. C, Town Council Committee on Legislative and Administrative Matters. Mr. Reed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We did meet, as you know, as Mr. Mauer pointed out. We passed on the appointments of Dominic and Greg. In addition, we talked about 3 items of new business: designating public depository and authorizing withdrawal, municipal public monies, and municipal referral for the Housatonic Valley Rail Trail project were the 2 that reached consensus to come to council tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reed. I would note that a discussion on blight will be held in the near future as soon as all scheduling conflicts can be resolved. Moving on to Strategic Planning Committee. I believe the first selectman would like this committee to meet.
Yes, I spoke to Councilmember O'Rourke, who I believe is the vice chair at this time, since they need to elect a new chair, and I've asked them to schedule a meeting in the upcoming month.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. O'Rourke. Do you have any other update on SBC?
No, other than, again, September, we will be meeting, and hopefully we'll have some report to submit sometime in September.
Thank you very much. EMS Building Committee, Mr. Rooney.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing too much. Everything's steady, moving ahead. Currently, our construction manager at risk, that Burlington Construction, as I spoke about many times at council, they're securing the bids. As you know, the project has been approved and we're moving forward. The committee will be meet to discussing some of the things moving forward, scheduling and so forth, but everything's moving along as planned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rooney. The Open Space Preservation Acquisition Committee, Mr. O'Rourke.
Yes, we have not met to date. And again, this is another item, as with Strategic Planning Committee, that we're hoping to organize and have a meeting here in September and hopefully be able to issue a report then.
Thank you very much, Mr. O'Rourke. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have some written updates that are making their way down the dais. First, I wanted to start off with a COVID update, since we have had some changes in the last few weeks. I'm sure everyone's well aware that their case rates in Connecticut have increased over the last few weeks. Several towns have returned to the yellow, orange, or red levels of case reporting by the state. In Monroe, we continue to average just over one new case per day. Based on our population, that does put us in the yellow category. However, as I said, the case rates are extremely low at again averaging one new case per day. We have fairly good vaccination rates in town. I thought I'd give you an update on that. We have almost 64% of all residents fully vaccinated and over 68% that have initiated, meaning they've gotten at least one of a 2-dose series. That does not, and as I indicated by the chart on the right, that is higher than in Fairfield County or the state as a whole. And I know certainly higher than many of the cities that have expressed concerns with challenges in getting vaccination rates up higher. We've been doing fairly well. Another point to note is that percentage was based on all residents. If you look at eligible residents, i.e. over age 12, that number goes well over 70%, with 72 fully vaccinated and over 77 initiated. So in that regard, those things combined is what has kind of gone into the decision process relative to the current stance on masks statewide. The governor's executive orders have not changed in that masks are not required outdoors. Those that are fully vaccinated are recommended by CDC guidelines. There's a recommendation that they consider masking, but it is not mandatory. Unvaccinated individuals must wear masks indoors at all public spaces other than healthcare facilities, public and private transit. In other words, that would include everything, including an Uber, correctional facilities, schools, childcare, et cetera. So this is all kind of the status quo. And again, businesses continue to have the option to require masks for everyone in their establishments. Again, I'm sure everyone's aware the governor has issued a new order that allows town-by-town universal mask requirements based upon my meeting with our emergency management team and based on the low level of transmission and the high vaccination rate of our town. I'm not going to exceed the state mandates at this time, as are most of our suburban communities. We will obviously continue to monitor the situation very closely and address things as they come. I have a few updates on staff. First is the Director of Community and Social Services. Very pleased to report that Kim Cassia has been promoted to Director of Community and Social Services. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Kim. She's been with that department since 2008, was our Elderly Services Coordinator, and most recently was the Administrative Assistant in the Senior Center. She's been a long-term volunteer in town with both our EMS and the Monroe Fire Department, and has given an incredible amount of time and energy and skills to our community. She has a real solid understanding of our programs for both the Senior Center and the Social Services side, and really has established a lot of strong relationships with those that we serve. We're really happy to have her take on this role. In the position of a Director of Economic and Community Development, I have appointed Bill Holsworth in the permanent position. I think you all are aware that since June of 2020, he served in a temporary capacity as a Community Economic Recovery Coordinator and as a member of our emergency management team, which was a role assisting, had a lot of aspects assisting with COVID-19 response, including testing and vaccination efforts, while also helping our businesses comply with sector rules and really help retain businesses in town and also be the driving force to help new businesses open and expand operations. In the new role, as you know from the budget process, the new position focuses not only on community and economic development, but has a key role in grant research and administration and providing project management for certain key town efforts. As you know, Bill's been a long-term, lifelong resident and has a strong background in business analysis and product development, and he, I think, will continue to serve us well. And then the last, but certainly not least, staff director update is the director of the Edith Wheeler Memorial Library. I'm very happy to announce that Nicole Signoli will be starting as our new director at the library starting on August 30th. Some of you may know Nicole. She was a prior member of the library team as a part-time reference librarian several years ago before she took an opportunity for a library in Glastonbury. She's currently the director at the Derby Public Library, and she's done a lot of work there, similar to what's been done in Monroe in terms of expanding electronic resources for patrons and really just fostering robust relationships with the community. She's risen to the challenge for COVID in Derby and putting on similar programs that we've done in Monroe, such as curbside service and remote programming and appointment-based browsing, and really seems to be a great fit. She's coming to us with over 10 years of library experience, public library experience, including a role prior in Trumbull. And before her library experience, she also has a very strong background in managing teams and over 30 years of customer service experience. Some brief business updates. There's going to be a ribbon cutting on August 27th at 10:30 a.m. for Connected Life Counseling at 324 Elm Street. We have a new business that has opened at 500 Purdy Hill Road, Suite 7, called Valerie's Gallery, which is an artist studio. They're doing both commission work and art gallery operations and programs. And as many of you may know, McGowan's Pizza Land is now going to be called Mary Lou's Ristorante after a long-term employee has taken ownership of the establishment following the retirement of the current owner. And last, I wanted to leave you with an update on the state education cost sharing grant. I think I mentioned earlier to the council that the state revised the ECS funding formulas and levels. And the good news was what we were left whole, in other words, flat funding for the current and for the next fiscal year. However, they did advise us that they were going to resume the phase-in reduction through fiscal year 30. At the time, I'd asked for greater detail on some more specific projections because I knew that the algorithm had changed as well, so we couldn't necessarily assume on any prior data. With my thanks to State Representative Scott, I did get specific projections from the State Office of Fiscal Analysis, and those I've summarized in the table below. Obviously caution you that the ECS number is always estimated because it is a formula that changes year over year, but everything else being equal, this is how our ECS would change, again, remaining flat for the current fiscal year and next fiscal year, but then being reduced by just over $173,000 until we get to, from where we are now at just under $5.3 million down to $4.3 million by 2030. I've also attached for your reference an information graphic that was provided to me by the state. I'm certainly not an expert in the granular details of this, but I think it is a good high-level overview of how this very complicated formula works. You'll notice that there are some changes noted in red, and that's where the state has indicated the changes to the formula that were implemented in the current state budget adoption. So, for example, in the very top, you'll notice that in the past, there was a student count that gave a 15% bump up for English times English, 50% times English line. That's now 25% for English language learners. So that, if you go through this whole thing, you'll see where various things in the formula have been revised. And with that, that is my update. And this obviously was provided to the Board of Finance as well, but knowing that this is a substantial amount of revenue for the town that we all rely on in making our budgetary assumptions, I think it was important to have it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. Are there any questions for First Selectman? Hearing none, we will move on to unfinished business. We have no unfinished business this evening. We will move on to new business, Resolution 21. To consider and act upon resolution designating public depository and authorizing withdrawal of municipal public monies. Madam Vice Chair.
I move that the town council consider and act upon a resolution designating public depository and authorizing withdrawal of municipal public monies.
Madam Chair, you're making a motion to adopt Resolution 21-112.
That's what I said. I move. Okay, I should start out the way. Okay, I move that the town council Resolution 21-112 consider and act upon a resolution. Okay, because adopt wasn't the resolution. I move the town council consider and act upon, or consider and adopt upon a resolution designating public depository and authorizing withdrawal of municipal public monies.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. We have a motion for the town council to adopt Resolution 21-112. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Mr. Mauer. Mr. First Select, do I hear a motion to waive the reading of Resolution 21-112?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion to waive the reading? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, motion to waive the reading passes 8-0. We will move on to discussion of Resolution 21-112. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I noted in my brief cover memo, well, first of all, these resolutions I think are somewhat familiar to everyone. They are a standard form required by the financial institution to establish new accounts. The account being opened here was necessitated as a result of loan payoffs being received relative to the Small Cities program. And one of the requirements of that program is such monies need to be a separate account.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kellogg. Is there any other discussion on Resolution 21-112? Hearing none, I will call for a vote on the full motion. All those in favor of the Town Council adopting Resolution 21-112, please say aye.
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 All those against, please say nay. Hearing none, this motion passes 8-0. Madam Vice, new business B, Resolution 21-113 to consider and act upon a resolution regarding Section 824 municipal referral for the Housatonic Valley Rail Trail project. Madam Vice Chair.
I move that the town council adopt this resolution regarding Section 8-24 municipal referral for the Housatonic Valley Rail Trail project. Where am I? Okay, I'll read it down there. Resolved That in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes, Section 8-24, the Monroe Town Council hereby refers the Housatonic Valley Rail Trail, Section 2 and 3 project to the Planning and Zoning Commission for its review and report.
Seconded.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. We have a motion to accept and adopt Resolution 21-113. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Mauer. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this project, I know is going to be very familiar to everyone. It's a long-standing project to extend the Housatonic Valley Rail Trail in sections of the park and beyond to Maple Street, Maple Drive, just south of Maple Drive. It would construct a 10-foot wide stone dust trail and continue north behind the Public Works facility, across Pretty Hill Road, and then back to Wolf Park, and then connect with the existing segment at Wolf Park. It's about 4,600 linear feet. There's a map that the town engineer has provided just for your reference. I know you've seen much more, you've seen additional details when we've discussed this project. This project, as you recall, is almost entirely funded through two different grant programs. We are in the process of finishing the design services, which you'll recall this council had authorized an agreement with Stantec Consulting for that design and some other services, including environmental permitting and getting us to the construction, the bid phase for construction. Given that we expect the regulatory approvals and the design work to be completed by this fall, we want to now ensure that it is properly referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 824, which requires such municipal improvements go to them for their review and report. And as I think you're familiar, that they will return a report of either favorable recommendation, which would simply require a simple majority for the council to act on the final project when it comes before you. If the commission were to render an unfavorable review, it would require a supermajority of the council to move forward. So this is a fairly standard referral process, which we've done many times in the past for other projects. Whenever there's a municipal improvement that is within the scope of the statute. And our town engineer, Mr. Schatzline, I believe is on the go-to meeting in the event you have any further questions about the project itself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kellogg. Are there any questions for our first selectman or our town engineer this evening? Any questions? Hearing none, I'm going to call a vote on the town council adopting resolution 21-113. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those against, please say nay. Hearing none, this resolution passes 8-0. New item of business, C, proposed license agreement with ARX Wireless. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, as you're all aware, the town is considering a proposal from ARX Wireless to construct and operate a communications tower and property behind the former Chalk Hill School on Fan Hill Road. You know that this was, as the town attorney had reported, referred to special counsel to assist in those negotiations and in crafting the agreement. I have been provided with that proposed license agreement, which is included for your reference. As you know, again, we just talked about the A24 referral process. I did want to make sure that the council was aware that the Planning and Zoning Commission did render a favorable determination as relates to that municipal use referral, subject to the provision of screening at the base structure and the equipment. This agreement does contain a relevant provision requiring such screening. Additionally, the agreement also includes requirements to provide ongoing reporting for compliance with radio frequency exposure limits. That was a matter that I had referenced in prior meetings from some of the public discussions that were held. So the agreement does include that as well. although I've been told that it is a standard requirement nevertheless, but it is in the agreement to be certain. I have asked that tonight that the council simply get an update on this with the intent that you act upon it at a subsequent meeting. Obviously, the earliest would be at your September meeting or your first meeting in September. This give you adequate time to evaluate the license agreement, but also ensure that we have provided for additional opportunities for public input in the interim, and certainly at the September meeting. I've asked for that we will have representatives at the September meeting, including representatives from Rosemark Law who worked on the agreement. However, at this time, as I said in LNA, I wanted to make sure that you got an update on the project, and if there's any initial questions or additional information you would like me to obtain in this regard, I would certainly want to know that now so I can work on that in between this and the next meeting. With that, I wanted to turn this over. I do have some representatives from ARX Wireless that are here tonight, simply to, again, present the project in a little bit more detail for you, knowing that we'll probably do a repeat in some way, shape, or form in September as well, but at least to kind of refresh everyone's memory. With that, I know we want to get a presentation up there as well, right? So let me, hopefully the technology will cooperate this time. Bear with me for 1 minute. I should be able to. Okay. Oh, that's not too bad. Let's see if we can get this little. Okay. Good.
All right.
I'll let these gentlemen introduce themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman, Mr. Chairman, and members of the Town Council. My name is Phil Piers. I'm an attorney with Cohen & Wolf in Bridgeport. With me is Doug Roberts, who is our architect and our site designer. So as the First Selectman said, this is a proposed telecommunications facility. Be located at 345 Fan Hill Road. It would replace an existing town facility and replace a cell on wheels that is currently at this site by AT&T. AT&T would be located there. The town gets equipment at the very top of the tower for emergency services and that sort of thing, so the town gets better enhanced emergency services as a result of this. Going through the plans, just very briefly, it's very nice to be like this. We can provide.
I would say we will have copies of this in the council packet folder after tonight's meeting. I did not have it before this evening, but we will get it in the online packets for both the council and for public access.
You'll see from the plans, the first page is a survey of the site to just give you the general site conditions. The second is sheet C1 is a plot plan that shows where the location would be. This is the location where, if you can see my cursor, that's where the tower would be located. This is access along that area. This is the elevation sheet. You can see the top of the tower here and the top of the town's antennas. The town's antennas are at the top of the tower, getting the best service. And then this is a compound plan that shows the layout of the compound in the leased area. And then as you go further, there's more details on the construction. There's no chance you'll be able to see what those look like on this screen, but we'll provide copies electronically so everybody has those and can check them out in great detail. If there's any questions, Doug can answer any questions that the council may have.
All right, thank you very much. Did you have anything you would like to?
Phil covered it all.
I'll let your attorney speak for you. That's a good move. Does the council have any other
again, I'll just reiterate that ARX has indicated to me that this is their number one location, the ideal location to provide what sorely needed coverage, cellular coverage in this area of town. Of note, one of the areas that is poorly covered is the school campus itself, and certainly without the cow on wheels, it would be almost nothing. The cell on wheels, the cow, and one way or the other, that has to go away at some point. So that, along with as he mentioned, there is added benefits in terms of the license agreement, which provides us would provide the town with revenue, as well as the ability to locate certain equipment that would enhance our public safety radio communications system. So with that, again, really just wanted to make sure it was introduced well in advance of you needing to make a decision in this regard, and to make sure if you have any initial questions, we get them. We make sure that they're. I know Mr. Maurer had a question during L&A on one of the more technical aspects of the agreement in regards to the building permit and having that be a condition of closing. And I will send that communication through the town attorney to have that addressed. Other than that,
Thank you very much, Mr.
I just have a
Selectman.
quick question, if I may.
Yes, Ms. Martin.
Mr. Keller, once we get this completed package back, will there still be a public hearing after that?
so there's no requirement for a public hearing for town council. Again, there's the A24 referral, which has already come back, and this council simply has to act upon the lease. Now I think there's an ancillary agreement as well that the town attorney will be providing as well, related to the equipment that we would have. But from here, the other additional approval it will require is I have to check, unless, I don't know if Mr. Schultz is still on the call. He might be on the call. I'm not sure if this is an SCP or a site plan, but it will go to planning and zoning, because there's a municipal use regarding this, and it's on. And
Site plan, well.
yeah, so I believe there will be a site plan review. So there certainly will be an additional opportunity for public input before the Planning and Zoning Commission as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. First Selectman. Are there any other comments?
Sure.
Did you, Mr. Maurer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As the selectman noted, I do have just one contractual question. We will put that through our attorney, but it basically has to do with making a condition of one of the closing requirements being application for the permit, as to close the loophole of having all of the closing requirements done, exercising the option, and then rent not starting until the permit is received and not only applied for, but also granted by the town, so that at least it has already been applied for prior to the exercise of the option, putting the obligation to create rent on the town side rather than on the licensee's side. But like I said, I'm sure that will get passed through the attorneys, and will hopefully be a very easy close.
Is that all, Mr.
That's all. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. I will note for the record that this will be on our town council agenda in our first meeting in September. During that meeting, there will be an opportunity for public comments if any members of the public wish to speak on this before we consider it by council. It will also be considered by L&A, which will be held that same evening prior to our council meeting. And I want to thank our guests for coming this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. There is no resolution.
Want your flashlight?
Item C. And as I said, we will consider this item at our first September meeting. Item D, to consider and act upon resolutions to settle various tax appeals. Do I have a motion to enter executive session, inviting the first selectman as well as Mr. Feldman. Motion by Ms. Lapellis. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second by Mr. O'Rourke. Any discussion? We're entering executive session to discuss litigation involving tax assessment appeals. We will discuss that with the tax assessor as well as the first selectman. If this motion passes, I ask that all members of the public please leave the town council chambers until you are called back in, and Mr. First Selectman will handle the technology end of this.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, so I will call for a vote to enter executive session. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And all those opposed, please say nay.
That's a report.
Hearing none, we will enter executive session by a vote of 8-0. The time is 8:48.
Okay, at this time, I will ask anyone other than Mr. Reed. Where did Mr. Reed go?
Mr. Reed left.
Reed left. All right, so I need everyone else to disconnect from the meeting at this time. I will tell you that if you wait 5 minutes and then reconnect using the same credentials that you started with, you'll be placed in kind of in a queue. And as soon as we resume our meeting and go back on the record, you'll be reconnected to the meeting once we go back on the record. So at this time, I'll ask everyone to thank you to disconnect, and we'll see you soon.
Good rid of Murphy.
Is Mr. Reed going to join us? Once I lock the meeting, he won't be able to get in.
Mr. Reed had some other business to attend to.
Okay, so before we start, let me just, since that, this way here.
This conference will now be recorded.
I am unlocking. I think we have one person in queue. Taking tree after tree.
Thank you for your work, Jason.
Justin.
Justin.
I'm Jason.
Well, 2 J's.
What's it up?
You know you wish you would.
Mr. Murphy's back.
State for the record that we're back on the.
We are back on the record for everyone that is logged on, and anyone that wants to come back in the town council chambers. We are back on the record at 9:04 p.m. I will wait for Mr. Maurer to return to his seat. All right. We are on new business, item D, to consider and act upon resolutions to settle various tax appeals. Resolution 21-114. Madam Vice Chair.
I move that the town council adopt resolution 21-114. Resolved that the town attorney and first selectman are authorized to settle pending litigation and execute a settlement agreement on behalf of the town regarding the tax appeal for the property at 270 Main Street.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Donaldin Wales. Discussion, Mr. Kellogg.
No further discussion. Obviously, these items were discussed during the executive session, so the council is aware of all relevant matters.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kellogg. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing none, this motion passes 7-0. Mr. Reed did have to leave us this evening. Resolution 21-115. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolution 21-115. I adopt that the town council adopt Resolution 21-115. Resolved that the town attorney and first selectman are authorized to settle pending litigation and execute a settlement agreement on behalf of the town regarding the tax appeal for the property at 188 Main Street.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. We have a motion to accept Resolution 21-115. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Donaldin Wales. Mr. First Selectman, any discussion?
No further discussion.
Is there any discussion from Town Council?
Nope.
Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, this motion passes 7-0. Resolution 21-116. Madam Vice Chair.
I move that the town council adopt resolution 21-116. Resolved that the town attorney and first selectman are authorized to settle pending litigation and execute a settlement agreed on behalf of the town regarding the tax appeal for the property at 234 Main Street.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair. We have a motion to accept and adopt resolution 21-116. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Donaldin Wales. Any discussion, Mr. First Selectman?
No discussion.
Any discussion from town council? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, this motion passes 7-0. Resolution 21-117. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolution 21-117. I move that the town council adopt resolution 21-117. Resolved that the town attorney and first selectman are authorized to settle pending litigation and execute a settlement agreed on behalf of the town regarding the tax appeal for the property at 921 Main Street.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair. We have a motion for town council to accept and adopt resolution 21-117. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Donaldin Wales. Any discussion, Mr. First Selectman?
No discussion.
Any discussion from town council? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, town council accepts and adopts resolution 21-117. Second public participation. We did have one unfinished matter of town business this evening. Item C, proposed license agreement with ARX Wireless. Is there any member of the public that wishes to participate on this matter? One more time, please unmute yourself if you are here digitally. Is there any member of the public that would like to participate and speak on the license agreement?
I believe Mr. Murphy's in.
Mr. Murphy is giving us a 1 second.
1 sec, okay. Mr. Murphy, you do need to unmute yourself. We cannot hear you, unfortunately. We will give you a couple minutes to try to figure it out. The unmute button looks like a microphone. Oh, you just turned off your video. So you're probably near where the button is. Oh, back on. Well, we'll give Mr. Murphy a minute or two to.
Should be right next to the button you hit for the screen. There should be, there you go.
It is.
Oh, now I can't hear you, Mr. Murphy. Oh, I can. Just make sure you keep your voice a little louder because sometimes it's hard to hear over.
Okay. I will.
All right, perfect.
I mean, welcome everybody. I'm just calling about the.
Oh, 1 second, Mr. Murphy. Could you please give your name and address for the record?
Sure. It's John Murphy, 36 Applegate Lane, Monroe.
All right, thank you, Mr. Murphy. Go ahead.
All right, I am for the cell tower, but I'm concerned because it's a third of a mile. I'm at the end of Applegate, and in the report by ARX, they took a photo of our mailbox and labeled it 30 Applegate, but it was really ours, 36. And our driveway goes up. So they took a picture when they were trying to show that, oh, it's not visible, the balloon, and our driveway goes up. So with trees, with leaves on the trees, obviously you couldn't see it either, and I doubt I would anyhow. And I mean, being able to see the cell tower some parts of the year doesn't bother me. But what bothers me is that I'm a third of a mile from my guests from the cell tower, and more important, I'm like our second floor bedrooms, I think would just be 70 feet below the lowest array on the cell tower. And I don't know if that's bad health-wise. And so I wanted to just be able to talk to someone to understand what that means. You know, is it something to worry about? Probably isn't, but I just wanted to investigate it.
Oh, okay. Is that all, Mr. Murphy?
Say it one more time. I have trouble hearing. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Do you have any other comment?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy. I'm sure our first selectman could direct Mr. Murphy to.
So, well, what I can tell you is I know that there was feedback, it might have been from Mr. Murphy some time ago regarding the addresses on the balloon test being inaccurate. I think the representative from ARX had addressed that at one of the meetings as to how that occurred, but they were correcting that, and they did correct that. I will make sure that for the September meeting, they provide that. So once again, you have it in a refreshed format. And I will ask that, I know that there is an intent to discuss, the radio frequency emissions concerns in general, and I will ask that that be addressed at the September meeting as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. First Selectman. Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you.
Is there any other public participation on the proposed license agreement with ARX Wireless? Hearing none, I'm going to close second public participation, and I will adjourn this meeting at 9:14 this evening. Our next town council meeting is, Mr. First Selectman, September.
Say it's in the teens. I believe it's the 13th.
The 13th.
Yes.
Second Monday in September. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.